Welcome to this training on the USDA Child Nutrition Labeling Program, most commonly referred to as a CN label. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's CN Labeling Program is a voluntary federal labeling program for USDA's child nutrition programs. It provides food manufacturers the option to include a standardized food crediting statement on their product labels. The CN labeling program is operated by the Food and Nutrition Service, FNS, of the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, in cooperation with Agricultural Marketing Services, AMS, or the National Marine Fisheries Service, NMFS. The USDA must approve labels prior to use, and manufacturers must have quality control procedures and inspection oversight that meet USDA requirements. All manufacturers participating in the CN labeling program must have a quality control program approved by the Agricultural Marketing Service or National Marine Fisheries Service. How does the CN labeling program work? Commercial food processing first submits CN label applications to USDA Food and Nutrition Service for approval. The program requires an evaluation of a product's formulation by FNS to determine its contribution towards the meal pattern requirements. Once approved, it allows manufacturers to state this contribution on their labels. The program provides child nutrition program operators a guarantee against audit claims for CN labeled products if the product is used according to manufacturer's directions as printed on the approved CN label. To carry a CN label, eligible products must have the contribution of the food component or food components determined using yields in the USDA Food Buying Guide, have the product formulation and CN label approved by USDA Food and Nutrition Service, and be produced under inspection. CN labels are available only for main dish entrees that contribute to the meat alternate component of the meal pattern requirements. Examples are beef patties, cheese or meat pizzas, meat or cheese and bean burritos, egg rolls, and breaded fish portions. The CN label will also indicate the contribution of other meal components that are part of these products. For example, CN labeled pizza may list contributions to the meat alternate, grain, and vegetable components, and CN labeled breaded chicken nuggets may list contributions to the meat alternate, and grain components. The CN label has 4 integral parts, which include the product name, ingredient statement, CN logo, and inspection legend. All 4 parts must be present on a product carton in order for the CN label to be valid. This is a sample of a CN label that provides crediting information for the meat alternate, grain, and vegetable subgroup components. For CACFP and SFSP sponsors, total the crediting information for all vegetable subgroups listed to determine the total vegetable component contribution. In this example, the total vegetable contribution would be 1/4 cup plus 1/4 cup plus 1/8 cup, totaling 5/8 of a cup of vegetables. Manufacturers producing qualifying products, meat alternate entrees containing grains, may apply for a CN label to indicate the number of ounce equivalent grains that meet the whole grain rich criteria. The term ounce equivalent grains on the CN label indicates that the product meets the whole grain rich criteria for the NSLP meal pattern, while the terms bread or bread alternate on the CN label indicates that the product meets the enriched grain criteria for the CACFP and SFSP meal pattern. In this example, the label uses the term ounce equivalent grains, indicating that it would meet the grain requirement for the NSLP and therefore the bread requirement for the CACFP and SFSP programs. Looking further at the CN label logo, the logo will always contain the following: the CN logo distinct border, the meal pattern contribution statement, a 6-digit product identification number, the USDA authorization, and the month and year of approval. The CN label is the gold standard for verifying the crediting of menu items and provides a guarantee against audit claims when the product is used according to the manufacturer's instructions. Acceptable documentation for the CN label includes the original CN label from the product carton, a photograph of the CN label while it is attached to the carton, or a photocopy of a valid CN label. CN labels that are photocopied or photographed must be visible and legible. Child nutrition labels copied with a marking referred to as a watermark are acceptable documentation for administrative review. The watermark requirement supports Food Safety and Inspection Service or FSIS labeling policy. Watermarks are used when the CN logo and contribution statement are located on product information other than the actual product carton. To ensure that the CN label came from a product that was purchased by the sponsor and accurately reflects that product, sponsors are responsible for providing an invoice or bill of lading valid to accompany the CN label with watermark. Manufacturers may provide sponsors with the CN label copied with a watermark during the bidding process. A watermarked CN label provided in this manner may contain only preliminary information. Here's a sample of a CN label with a watermark. Once in a while, an invalid CN label will be used. If this is suspected, the label should be sent immediately to your state agency or USDA FNS. Manufacturers sometimes use labels that look like CN labels but are not. Be careful to look for the identification of a CN label. USDA cannot provide a guarantee for use of products with an invalid CN label. Now let's look at some common questions and answers. Are manufacturers required to CN label their products? There is no federal requirement that manufacturers provide CN labels on their products. This is a voluntary program. Are child nutrition sponsors required to buy CN labeled products? Again, there is no federal requirement that sponsors purchase or use CN labeled products. Purchasing decisions are left to the local level. If a CN label product is desired, this must be clearly stated in the purchasing specifications. Are CN labeled products more nutritious? The answer is no. A CN label does not indicate that the CN product is a healthier or more nutritious option than a similar non-CN labeled product. The CN credit statement declares the quantities of the creditable food item or items in a processed food. The quantity of creditable food is used to meet the meal pattern requirements. Are CN labeled products higher quality? While a CN labeled product is guaranteed to contain a certain quantity of creditable food items, it does not indicate that the quality of the food is any different than a non-CN labeled food. Neither does it mean the foods are safer to eat or free of pathogens or allergens. So do CN labeled products really have advantages? The answer is yes. A CN label statement clearly identifies the contribution of a product toward the meal pattern requirement, and it protects the purchaser from exaggerated claims about a product. A CN label provides a guarantee against audit claim if the CN labeled product is used according to the manufacturer's directions. And a CN label simplifies cost comparison of similar products. But do CN labeled products cost more? The answer to this question is maybe. See-in labeled products may cost more. Special labeling requirement, inspection, and extra staff costs to monitor quality control may be contributing factors in see-in labeled products costing more than a similar non-see-in labeled product. However, keep in mind that cost comparison between two meat products should be based on the cost per serving of the specified contribution to the meal pattern requirement, not on the product cost per ounce or per pound. The See-in labeling program can only offer program operators a guarantee against audit claims if the product is used according to the manufacturer's directions as printed on the approved See-in label. It is important for the sponsor to follow the product instructions for preparation and service. Portion size must be the same as indicated on the See-in label for crediting information to be correct. If the serving size is changed, then the crediting information must be adjusted. To learn more about the USDA See-in labeling program, follow the link on this slide. Thank you for watching the See-in label training and for your work toward fueling Oregon's future.